AEW continuing to struggle in the ratings. Hi, Chris Graham here. And we're going to talk about AEW's Dynamite's numbers this week, and down 3% from where they were last week, which was already a low for the last several weeks, and actually is a trend that's been ongoing dating back to just the first couple of weeks after the All Out pay-per-view, which was a high watermark for AEW. I thought that was such a great pay-per-view. According to WrestleNomics, AEW this week averaged 840,000 viewers for the 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time slot. Last week, 870,000. The magic number seems to have been 1 million for AEW, and it's not really been able to, consistently stay over that number. The first show, you might remember back in 2019, drew 1.4 million viewers, and that had people really excited, especially, I'm a big fan of AEW, really excited about the potential for this company, and it's never hit that number since. And now I want to give some context here so that people have an idea, what these numbers mean. 1.4 million, the high water mark back in 2019, that first show back in October of 2019, would still be below what Raw is at now, and Raw is at historic low numbers for WWE Raw. 1.54 million viewers this past week, and that's a second lowest viewer number for Raw this year. And it's another, just like AEW's had a trend of late with their numbers going down, really going back into September. Raw's had a similar trend. Raw is normally over 2 million viewers or more. I think that Raw and Dynamite are a better comparison. I'll give you the numbers in a second for SmackDown, but Raw and Dynamite are both on cable. And it shouldn't matter. A lot of folks have cable, but with the cord cutters and folks who are completely off the grid in that sense, the fact that SmackDown is on Fox is a big advantage for SmackDown. And we'll talk about that in a second. But, that even with the lower numbers for Raw and their trend going down, they're still nearly double where AEW is right now. So that's kind of perspective there. SmackDown, when it airs on Fox, and it was preempted a week ago, so we'll talk about that in a second too. 2.2 million viewers for its November 25th episode. I'm recording this on Saturday, December 10th. We don't have the numbers in quite yet for last night's SmackDown, and we probably won't have those till Monday, because on the weekend those numbers are slower to come out. But 2.2 million viewers for November 25th, that's close to 3 times what Dynamite gets on Wednesday nights on TBS. Interesting comparison, though. The December 2 SmackDown had to go to FS1 because Fox was broadcasting a college football game. And that December 2 SmackDown drew 902,000 viewers. So that kind of shows you that the advantage that Fox gives to SmackDown as opposed to being on cable. Now, let's go into the Dynamite quarter hours just to get a sense of what maybe is drawing and what isn't. What's normal when you look at these numbers, and I've been doing this for a while, is that the first quarter hour for Dynamite is the best quarter hour. It's coming in at 8 o'clock, which is prime time. It's coming in off the lead-in from Big Bang Theory, which it's a repeat. It's a series that ended 3 years ago, but it still draws big numbers. And the Discovery Network's TBS pay a lot of money for the rights to have Big Bang Theory as much as they have on TBS, which it seems like some nights is all the time. This week, though, the 8 to 8:15 p.m. ET quarter hour was not the highest rated. That was the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. And then that spilled into a little bit of the second quarter hour, 8:15 to 8:30, which then was dominated by the rest of that segment was the Ricky Starks, who won the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. His promo, back and forth dueling promo with MJF, they're going to wrestle next week on Dynamite. And the viewership went up by, it was 883,000 for the 8:15 to 8 to 8:15. It was actually over 900,000 for the second quarter hour. And that again is unusual. Usually that 8 to 8:15 is the one that draws the numbers. But then after that, the show lost momentum slightly. I mean, the 9 to 9:15 segment with William Regal backstage interview and the House of Black video package actually averaged 882,000, which was higher than the average for the whole show. Where things really took a big steep decline was the next two segments, 9:15 and then the 9:30 segments, which featured the women's division largely. A Jamie Hayter sit-down interview house the Jade Cargill feature 6-person tag match, and then the Britt Baker Saraya backstage promo. Those were all under 800,000. Those two segments there, and people who tuned out then stayed tuned out. The main event with FTR and the Acclaimed, which then set up the FTR Briscoes match for today's Ring of Honor pay-per-view, averaged 784,000 viewers. So a drop off, and then people stayed away for the last 15 minutes. So the analysis here, hey, there was no Young Bucks Elite. This was a week off for that trios title series. I keep wanting to say 6-man, which I think they should call it that, but whatever. The trios title series with the Death Triangle had a week off this week, so no impact one way or the other there. We wrote last week about how the Elite Death Triangle feud is not getting over with fans. And now with the fact they've locked into a 7-match series, it could end after, one team gets to 4 before 7. But they've locked into that. We're going to get it in, and the series stands at a 2-1 advantage for Death Triangle. We're getting at least 2 more matches, right? It's not getting over, but they were off this week, so no impact there one way or the other. The good news for AEW is that fans are into the Starks MJF build, and for good reason. MJF is MJF. He is the guy they're building around for lots of reasons. Starks has been a guy that we've seen have that potential. Even back to his NWA days when he was on the YouTube show, as MJF mentioned in his promo. Starks has shown the ability to work and then also be great on the mic. We've seen it in fits and starts in AEW. He just never got a consistent good push. We can hope that this is the beginning of a push that keeps him at the main event level. He's earned it. His in-ring work, I know he had an injury, so that kind of threw him off a little bit too. He had actually a broken bone in his neck that kept him on the sidelines for a while, and that was part of why he didn't get a consistent build. But now that he's healthy, physically healthy, able to work consistently, we saw this week his great mic work, and he is on a level. No one's right at where MJF is, but he's on that level where he can sell things that well. And AEW definitely needs top baby faces who can be in a regular feature in the main event picture with MJF. With MJF clearly he's going to be the champion, barring a severe injury that would put him on the sidelines. MJF's going to be the champion for quite a while. So having Ricky Starks as a semi-regular opponent and having him built up to be a legitimate semi-regular opponent is going to be very important. Good news is fans are bought into it. We had more people tuning in for that segment than even had tuned in for the opening segment. Bad news is the women's division needs work. And that is what it is. Right now, Britt Baker is taking a back seat. Jamie Hayter is the champion. And Hayter maybe not as good on the mic. Jamie Hayter being the champion is Tony Khan listening to the fans. She got that great reaction back at All Out in a tag match or a trios match. I can't remember what it was now, but she got a great reaction in that match. And or was it a triple threat match for the title? It's one of those things that kind of goes in the wayside. All I remember is that All Out, she got a huge reaction, and great move by Tony Khan to respond to the great reaction. But now we're seeing that there are reasons that she's not given mic time. She wasn't good in that interview, and that's what pushed the show's ratings down overall for this week. So for more AEW news, for more sports news, more news, go to AugustaFreePress.com. And if you have any questions, anything for me to address, you want to criticize me, I don't care. Email me at chris@AugustaFreePress.com.